Skeleton Warlord is one of 3 bosses in the Inferno map. In my humble opinion, it is the hardest of the 3 bosses to solo on normals, but not on High Roller. The Skeleton Warlord has 2 distinct phases. In the first phase, the Skeleton Warlord will have a shield and cannot be damaged, and in the second phase, the Warlord removes the shield, becoming vulnerable. Since phase 2 is exactly the same between normals and High Roller, let's begin with that. At any given moment, the Skeleton Warlord can choose between the teleport, 5 different slash attacks, and throwing knife attacks. With the teleport ability, the Skeleton Warlord will teleport around the player, and not necessarily behind them. You'll want to get used to quickly checking your left, back, and right sides for the Warlord, and instantly recognizing which one of the 5 following melee attacks the Warlord is using. The first combo is a vertical slash. This can be dodged by strafing either left or right. Personally, I jump and strafe to the right so I can get an extra melee attack without the fear of my arm crossing the sword's path. Just strafing left also works, but I tend to crouch when I do that. These next 2 attacks I'll lump together in the clockwise category. The clockwise horizontal slash requires the player to duck and look up or down. Meanwhile, the clockwise diagonal slash can be strafed left. So whenever the Skeleton Warlord winds up in a clockwise fashion, just to be safe, crouch, look down, and strafe to the left. Make sure to give yourself a little bit of space between yourself and the boss, or you might get hit by the diagonal slash. The final 2 melee attack patterns are both counterclockwise slashes. Both of these attacks can be dodged by strafing to the right, no crouch required. However, be careful with your arm's hitboxes during your attacks. For example, the second swing on the rapier puts the arm above the head. This could easily end your run. So just be aware, you might have to crouch or look down a little bit with those attacks. The last remaining attack is the throwing knives. The Skeleton Warlord will step away if you're close, or towards you if you're far away, and throw 12 evenly spaced throwing knives. Dodge this by simply strafing left or right. And that's phase 2. You'll have 32 seconds to get as much damage as you can in. Let's play a game. I'll play 10 different attacks and pause right at the frame where you need to make a decision. Do you strafe left, crouch and look down, or strafe right? You die if you miss 2 or more. Now that you're a pro, let's move on to phase 1. Phase 1 has 2 High Roller exclusive abilities that start and end the phase, the explosion and the crystals. If you're doing the normal dungeon, you can safely ignore these for now. However, the sequence of abilities will always remain the same, starting with the explosion, then the Realm of Domination, guard teleport, and guard throwing knives, 1 extra repetition of the Realm Domination, teleport, and throwing knives, and lastly, depending on the dungeon, will end on explosion or the crystals. When you enter the arena on High Roller, the Skeleton Warlord will put down an anti-sea bear circle. You'll have approximately 7 seconds to get there safely. Use this opportunity to heal, buff, or shoot down crystals. After fighting the Warlord in phase 2, you'll also get another explosion in High Roller. Be aware you might get cut off by the crystals, and they do a decent amount of damage. Afterwards, the boss will start its normal phase 1. Here the boss will carve out a pizza slice from the arena. Standing in this zone will give you the Dominated debuff. At 5 stacks, you'll get trapped inside of a breakable bone cage. These regions will persist for up to 2 minutes, or 2 full phases. Do your best to stack them right on top, or next to each other. Then the Warlord will teleport one of the minions to you. So if the boss is center, and you're on this blue ring, say the right side, the boss will teleport the minion on the outside of you, attacking inwards. Make sure you're moving towards the center at the time of the teleport. Then the minions will throw knives at you. These can be easily strafed by stepping to the right or left. In a normal dungeon, the Royal Guards will explode and that will conclude phase 1. But in High Roller, you'll still have the crystals. These explosions can damage the crystals if you're strategic about your pathing. The crystals will spawn in a Y formation around the arena, like so. Over the course of a phase 2 and phase 1 cycle, the crystals will rotate 1/3 of a rotation around the arena clockwise. I recommend spawn camping one of the 3 crystals and taking care of another after the explosion if you don't need to heal or buff. And that's all there is to the fight, really. After learning all the Warlord's attack patterns in normals, you're likely to find that in High Roller, you take most of your damage from the crystal beams and the explosion spawning in an unlucky spot, or the bone cage. Good luck out there, fellow dungeon crawler.